as well as student athletes Gabby Gregory and Ioka Lee. For those seeking additional interviews, the Wildcats locker room is open at this time. As a courtesy to your fellow media members and the student athletes, please turn your cell phones and smartwatches to silent. For those asking questions, please raise your hand and wait for the microphone and then identify yourself and your organization. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand function if you have a question. We'll get to you once all the in-person questions have been answered. Recording of the press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. Cambie Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Hub located at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are also provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly after the conclusion of the press conference. We'll begin today's press conference with an opening statement from Coach Mitty, followed by questions for the student athletes. After the student athletes are done, they will be dismissed, and we'll take questions for Coach. Coach Mitty, your opening statement.
Well, I thought we got off to a great start today. I thought our players were playing extremely well. I thought the ball was moving. I thought we were getting the ball to some really, really good spots of the floor. So I certainly liked our start, and I liked a lot of the things we were doing. I think we needed a game like this. This is, to get just kind of the nerves and all that out of the first game. I think you needed to get a tough game like this, and in Portland, certainly we couldn't run away from them. Every time we extended it out, they made plays. They got to the free throw line. They did some things to, one of the things with them is that because they put so much in the full court press, you put them to the free throw line, they have that opportunity to get in it way more. And so I was proud of my group. I thought we battled through some foul trouble and battled through some things, but good to get off on the right foot and good to be sitting here advancing on.
Thank you, Coach. Questions for the student athletes, please raise your hand. We'll go third row on the right.
For both of you, just if you could speak on the environment in Bramlage today. I mean, it maybe wasn't a sellout, but it sure felt like it. But I guess your thoughts on the environment today.
Go ahead, Gabby.
Obviously, y'all know I was really trying for that sellout. But we were really close, and, it was amazing. And they're like, right when we came out to shoot our layups, like right before tip, I was just had a huge smile on my face because, that is the crowd that we want to play in. I think it really just speaks to the growth of the game of women's basketball that we get to play in front of almost sold-out crowds and things like that now. But, I think it was tremendous, and I can't wait to have a sellout on Sunday.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, I think Gabby said it great. It was really great to play in front of that many people, that many students. And I think we didn't sell out today, but Sunday's just another opportunity to do that. And I think, you're silly if you're not buying tickets. So, yeah.
Go second row in the middle.
Gabby, this was the best scoring game we've had since the end of last season. How was it feeling out there for you?
I think just shooting the ball and just it was going in. That's really all there is to it. My teammates have a lot of trust in me. I know Coach Mitty has a lot of trust in me. So I just try to be as confident as I can be. And when it's my turn, then just step up and knock it down.
Second row.
Yes, for both players, just to go back to the environment for a second, did you guys get some juice from that? And do you think that had anything to do with the good start that you all had?
Start with Gabby.
I think definitely in that first quarter, I think there's some people on the team that they play with a lot of emotion, myself. But there's some people on the team that don't really do that. But we saw some of that today, Serena, Jalen. And I think that crowd is what is creating that, and I think that's very, very helpful for our team. Coach Mitty always says, next play mentality, and I think when we have a great crowd like that and they're into the game, it makes it easier for whenever we do make a mistake to go to the next play because we have such a huge support from the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as teammates, we want to pull one another up, lift each other up, and I think the crowd just adds to that. So many plays, like Zai hitting a mid-range, Gabby hitting a three, and you just, hear the crowd just go crazy, and they just stay in the game with us, especially down the stretch. So, yeah, I think it definitely adds to the environment, and, it gives us some extra juice.
Front row right.
David Smale, Associated Press, especially you, Yoki, but both of you really.
46 total fouls, probably that many more that could have been called that weren't. How physical was that game?
Yeah, it was physical, but I think we're used to physicality. Like, I don't think it was anything we hadn't seen before. And down the stretch, it just came down to us being smart. Yeah.
I mean, when our last game was against Texas, I mean, we're used to that. I think playing in the Big 12, it prepares you to play against very physical teams. So, yeah, that was just another game of physicality.
Talk about the fast start, how much that helped. You were up by 20 midway through the second quarter. Talk about how much that helped you for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I think it definitely helped us, especially when we had stretches where we weren't, executing as well as we wanted on defense, and not like building our wall as well as we wanted to. So, yeah, and I think it just comes down. I mean, our hope is to keep that lead, and we didn't get that done tonight, but I think it just goes back to, continuing to work regardless of the lead we have, regardless of the score.
Yeah, I think we played incredible coming out at the start of the game, but now it's just how can we extend that longer moving forward. But yeah, it was a great start by us.
Front row left.
Yeah, for both of you, just how cool was it playing a team outside of the Big 12 finally again?
Man, you go. Yeah, it's when you put it that way. It's been so long. Yeah, it's fun to scout a team that you haven't seen before. That's in a whole different conference. It can be refreshing, I think, and I think we did a good job of scouting and executing well on defense and offense. So yeah, it feels good. It's refreshing.
Yeah, I think it's fun, especially when you've been playing for 100 years like me and Yoki. You get to the teams in the Big 12 and you know every single person by their first and last name. You know exactly how they play and everything like that. So I think it's fun when you do go and you play a brand new team and you have no idea who these people are. It's just part of the fun of basketball, so yeah.
Next question will come third row on the right.
Playing off the kind of having played for a long time for both of you, do you feel like that experience has really helped you, especially in the second half where Portland kind of tried to make a bit of a run and get back into the game? Did your experience help to kind of keep you composed in that stretch?
Yeah, I think so. I think we both play with a lot of energy, but I think what our experience really helps us with is our poise and really regrouping our team, and just getting back to the core of what we need to be doing. So yeah, I think it helps personally.
Yeah, I think Yoki and myself are very good vocal leaders, so we're able to talk to our teammates and let them know things throughout the game, things that we're seeing. And then, like she said, just our poise. We've been in tight games many, many times, played in front of crowds and things like that. So we just try to use our experience that we have and maybe pass that down to the younger kids on our team.
Last question for the student athletes, front row right.
Yeah, for both of you. A lot was made of their turning people over, and yet I think you guys won the turnover battle. But with a different style, how good was your half-court defense? It seemed like you didn't give them a lot of open looks.
We'll start with Gabby.
At times. We were really trying to focus on no backdoors, and they're just a really good team. They run a lot of really good stuff. And they played really, really hard. So they definitely gave us some problems, but we have a lot that we can learn from that game, defensively especially.
Yeah, I think our guards did a really good job of just having active hands, especially when there are fumbles or loose balls the majority of the game. So yeah, we knew going into the game that they were going to force turnovers, but we also knew that we could do the same thing. So I think we did a good job doing that.
All right, ladies, thank you. Congrats on your victory.
Thanks.
We'll now open it up for questions for Coach Mitty, and we'll start here on the second row on the left.
Yeah, Coach, just on the environment, and how much that may have played into your fast start?
Well, I think it could go one of two ways. You could come out a little bit tight, or you could come out energized. And yeah, I think we saw our group was excited to play. I thought we played at a faster pace in that first quarter. You know, the game got bogged down after that. It got bogged down with a lot of whistles, a lot of Portland likes to kind of junk it up defensively, and you combine that with the whistles, there wasn't much flow after that. First quarter, there was a lot of flow, and we played really well in that quarter. So I thought the crowd was fantastic. I would echo the same thing the players said, is that, you know, it's great to walk out there and have people there early, have people when you get out. We know even on a 3:30 on a Friday that that's not easy to do, so we don't take it for granted. We're fortunate here. We've had good crowds all year, but it was a special crowd, and the students were great as usual.
Go to the front row right.
Coach, Gabby talked about the fact, great start, but then you got to learn how to extend it. With just one-day turnaround, how do you teach them, how do you help them extend that start to carry through the whole game on Sunday?
Yeah, I think our bench has got to continue to give us more consistency. They were inconsistent. We had some turnovers, you know, even at the end of the third when I'm trying to rest a couple people, we had turnovers, gave them 4 points, so more consistent. And that's not easy to do coming off the bench when the game is chaotic and the game is not, you're not going to, it's not easy to do in a game like that because you're not coming in, getting into the flow of the game. You know, you hear that constantly. Well, just come off the bench, get into the flow. There wasn't any flow, not much. And so that wasn't easy on them. But I think that would certainly help. I think for some of them, this was their first experience, so it was good to get them on the floor, and I think they'll benefit going forward.
Go to the back row.
Coach, you dissected that press in that first quarter, and you mentioned the game got kind of junked up there, but did they change something about their press, or did you just not handle it quite as well after that?
I thought I didn't see any significant changes in them. I think what we did is, you know, the press has a tendency to wear on you. And if a player takes off or a player gets fatigued out there and they're supposed to fill a gap, maybe that timing's off. And I just think that happened to us. And then I do think that when we rotated players in, they were coming into a game that was pretty chaotic, and they didn't settle into that chaos very well.
Front row right.
Gabby's been inconsistent, I guess, offensively this season, but how big was it to have a veteran come up in a game like this, especially in that fourth quarter when she had 9 points, I think?
You know, I think she's had a good look to her the last 5-6 games. You know, the ball's really, she's had a good look to her. She made a lot of right plays today when we needed them. We wanted to get in the middle of the floor, and you go back on film, you're going to see her get to the middle of the floor. She got to the free throw line there. She got the ball to Lee, and then, you know, she was able to settle in after she missed her first early threes. You know, I think she missed her first threes. But she's one that, like it or not, she thinks every shot's going in. And she has that confidence, and I feel like she's got a good look to her right now.
Go third row on the left.
Coach, second half, Portland shot over 50%. Was there anything they changed offensively to be more efficient?
Well, I didn't think we were very good defensively in the second half. I thought they drove us. I thought they got us too deep. They got us in some one-on-one post-ups down low. And it wasn't just posting up where you had to enter it. They dribbled to the post, and we've got to be more physical out front. I do think our guards got hesitant. We had guards out there with 3 fouls, 4 fouls, and they didn't want to pick up another one, and I thought Portland took advantage of that. You know, stylistically, we don't face a lot of teams like Portland where they're drawing Lee away from the basket. Big 12's got more traditional post. We knew that was going to be a little bit of a challenge. I just think we need to be more physical, not down low. We need to be more physical on the perimeter and not let them get as deep as they did.
Go second row middle.
How nice is it that after this next game is over, you and your staff only just have a 2-minute walk back to your offices to start preparing for Sunday instead of doing this in a hotel room? or something like that.
Yeah, you know, they keep telling us we're not allowed to use the office as much, so we have to use like off-site stuff or something like that. So I don't know. It's nice to have a 5-minute walk to our site. So yeah, you know, it's nice to be at home. It's nice to be able to quickly share the victories with family, and it'll be nice to get back to work here as soon as I'm done talking to you guys.
Go third row on the right.
Coach, could you just speak to the challenges that Portland presented today and maybe how your team overcame some of those stylistic changes you kind of touched on a few minutes ago?
Well, I'll just go back to the chaos. The best I can compare them to is that they play a little bit like West Virginia and Texas in terms of the press. Then they go back into the zone, and so they're not going to give you the many single post-ups with Lee. And so, and then I'll just go back to the game got very bogged down, right? There wasn't much flow to it, and when the game had flow to it, we played very well. But I think, what can we learn from it? Well, this time of the year, you know, you take some commonalities that your next opponent might face, but there might not be any. There might not be very many. So you just go to the next game, you go to the next scout, you do what you can do better. And I think that we got to correct. When they made their run, regardless of who we play, I did not like our discipline on the back doors. And on out-of-bounds plays, we had some players fall asleep on some pretty simple things, and we've got to correct those things. But having said all that, I think that I think we needed a game like this. I do. I think we needed a game that we were under duress. I think we needed a game where we had to handle some chaos, handle some shot clock things, and I think we got a good test, and that'll benefit us going forward.
Last question for Coach, second row left.
Yeah, I'm curious about not being able to use your office. I imagine that's part of the neutralizing of
Yeah.
the event. And what other examples are there like that?
Well, we're allowed to use, I guess we're allowed to use it a little bit, but they do try to make it as neutral as you can, right? So the commonalities would just, or the areas that training rooms all need to be here. So we don't use our ice basketball facility for that. If you schedule an auxiliary practice, every team here can use ice facility. So that, from that standpoint, that's pretty normal. But there are some things that they do make everything neutral. You noticed it in the arena. The arena is situated differently as well. So, you know, I said before the tournament that you play all year for it to be different, and the different is good. And I would agree with that. You play all year to earn the right for this time of the year to be special, this time of the year to be different. And so we're enjoying that.
All right, Coach, thank you. Congrats on the victory.
Thank you. Appreciate it.